one for the questions. have been a nicer guy. So he's very super nice. I saw Paulie Pants there. I saw Todd Fritz there, and I saw Mario.
Yeah, Mario's there. But are these your best or worst?
Oh, okay. I like all these people. Other best, I met Wire, the actor that played Chris from The Wire. I was at the New York Liberty game yesterday in Brooklyn, and he was there. And so I'm kind of near the camera guy, and he's over front row. I said, "Oh man, big fan. Couldn't have been a nicer guy." And so he's on another show called Power, and he goes, "I don't hear that very much," because he's expecting me to say "I love you" on The Wire. Because so he's like, "Oh man, it's nice to hear," because So that was it.
All best and worst.
I'm going to start with the negative. The LA Angels, last week when we left you, they were 4 games out of winning the division. They were making a play on the Texas Rangers. In less than a week, and actually it's just a week, they're 10.5 back. They've lost 6. The Rangers have won 6. I wouldn't say it's over, John, but it's real close to over. Best of the weekend, the Tim Anderson and Jose Ramirez baseball fight. A couple things I like. Rarely fights in baseball actually happen. They start to happen when the pile hits. Whoever the umpire was at second base said, "I'm going to let this play out."
He did. He stepped away.
It reminded me of those hockey officials until they did skates. They let them brawl. And he goes, "Let's see what happens here." And it was a real fight for 8 seconds.
I loved it.
TV.
Tim Anderson going down was awesome. Shut him up. And Ramirez is like, "Yeah, I'm tired of you disrespecting the game." And then, so when Anderson takes off his gloves and he's like squaring up, and I go, "Oh wow, this guy looks like he can fight."
Yeah.
And then he takes the first swing, and Ramirez is being held back and sort of wildly just goes wham, and Tim Anderson goes, down goes Anderson. Final hour on the way. More of your phone calls. The superbly versatile all-electric EQB from Mercedes-Benz, a compact SUV that's full of big surprises. An optional fold-out third row offers luxurious comfort for up to 7 occupants. And almost 24 cubic feet of cargo space means this compact SUV is big enough to handle anything you can throw at it or in it. And you can set the tone any way you like with 64 colored customizable ambient lighting throughout. And just like every other Mercedes-Benz EV, the EQB features the very latest generation MBUX voice-activated tech. So whether you want to set a new destination, change the tunes, turn up the heat, all you have to do is say, "Hey Mercedes, the vehicle is all electric. The feeling is all Mercedes." Test drive the EQB today at your local dealer or learn more at mbusa.com/EQB. That's mbusa.com/EQB.
This hour of the Dan Patrick Show on ESPN 700 is brought to you by Siegfried and Jensen, protecting Utah families for over 25 years. Do you like your sports talk in FM stereo? Then we have good news for you. You can now listen to ESPN 700 on 92.1 FM. The Dan Patrick Show, The Bill Riley Show, The Drive with Spence Jackets and Utah football, Running Utes and Utah women's hoops, Red Rocks gymnastics and Utah baseball. All your favorite shows and events are now available on the FM dial. Utah's #1 sports talk and your home of the Utes is ESPN 700 and 92.1 FM.
Hello and welcome to the Smiths Show. At Smiths, everyone wins when it comes to saving big. Because when you order online through the Smiths app, you get the same great prices, deals, and rewards on pickup or delivery that you do in-store, with no hidden fees or markups. Best of all, you'll know when items in your cart have a coupon, so you never miss a deal. So whether you're a delivery lover, picker-upper, or you shop in store, you'll always save big at Smiths. Smiths. Fresh for everyone. When you wake up well-rested on a great mattress, everything becomes clear. You do overthink everything. Things you missed when you were tired finally reveal themselves.
I use memes as a coping mechanism.
At Mattress Firm, we know the right mattress matters. Don't wait. Save up to $600 and get a free adjustable base with select ceiling mattresses during our Black Friday Now sale ending soon. Shop in-store or online at mattressfirm.com. The right mattress matters. You'll find yours. Restrictions apply. See store or website for details.
Roan Apparel. Now, simply put, Roan is clothing for men who refuse to settle. Roan delivers fit, form, and function. At the gym, Roan delivers activewear to keep you cool and comfortable. And at work, Roan's signature commuter line has incredible stretch and good looks. Their Delta Peak Polo keeps you cool under the collar while working on your short game. Live healthy, strong, and free in Roan clothing. Use the discount code ESPN20 to save 20% on your first purchase at Roan.com. That's RHONE.com. Roan Clothing, move forever forward.
Hey, this is Nate Orchard, former youth and NFL player. They call me the mayor of Sac Lake City, and I'm with Advanced Window Products. For 4 decades, Advanced Window Products has been building, selling, installing, and servicing your windows. We offer better pricing and better lifetime warranty on your windows, and an assortment of financing options for every budget. Right now, get $2,000 off 10 windows or more. Schedule your free estimate at 801-850-9100 or at advancedwindows.com.
Ray Magliotti here for eBay Motors. Okay, easy now. You're teaching a kid how to parallel park. Ouch! Turns out places work by people. Don't worry, eBay Motors has bumpers, taillights, trunk lids, license plate holders, 122 million parts. Put up just a little bit. And headlights. They've got lots of headlights. Get the right parts at the right price. eBay Motors. Let's ride.
Hey, it's Labs. Make sure you join me for a Monday Bill Riley show. Who knows when we begin? What will the Pac-12 look like? Will Utah have a path to the Big 12? Talk about all that and more coming up. Plus, we'll be inside of 4 weeks to go until kickoff for real football. Utah, Florida. It's a Bill Riley show on a Monday after a big weekend. Right here from 11 until 2 on Utah's #1 sports talk, ESPN 700 and 92.1 FM.
The Dan Patrick Show can be heard weekday mornings from 8 to 11. KALL, North Salt Lake, Utah's #1 sports talk, ESPN 700. 24 days to kickoff for Utah football. Right here on your home of the Utes, ESPN 700 and 92.1 FM. Brought to you by Andrew McCullough of Brindley Sullivan Attorneys and Utah Social Open. You're listening to the Dan Patrick Show from the Valley Collision Studio of ESPN 700.
You're out, you're about, but you watch your Dan Patrick. Well, good news, he goes everywhere with you. If you miss the show, you can podcast it. If you want to see the show, just go to Peacock, and we stream it live every weekday. Watch past episodes, too. The Dan Patrick Show, available anywhere you are, any way you want it.
Welcome to the Dan Patrick Show.
Nobody looks less tan than we do.
Hey! Bringing you the biggest guests and best interviews in the world of sports.
All fine month, voice of the SEC. We didn't hear anything for months. Then all of a sudden, Pac-12 is crumbling. Overnight, it's crumbling.
It's easy to beat up on one man, but I'm going to do it. Larry Scott will possibly go down as the worst commissioner in the history of intercollegiate athletics. And there's this feeling among some, especially the president of Arizona State, that the Pac-12 really matters. It doesn't.
Broadcasting from the Mercedes-Benz game.
Quite frankly, what we have now, we have 2 super conferences in college football, and then another, what I would call a nice conference. Without USC, the Pac-12 had nothing going for it.
This is Dan Patrick.
Hope you had a great weekend, everybody. Gang's all here. Final hour of the program. We reminisced about Fritzy taking the stage with Darius Rucker, singing a couple of songs. And I don't know if we're better for it, but it was fun. We survived, right, Tom?
We survived, and it was an awesome experience.
Yes. My thanks again to Darius and his entire band and everybody else behind the scenes for helping us out there. I did look out in the audience. I was side stage with Todd and his wife. And we turned around, and there was a guy holding up a sign. Todd has that sign that says...
Give it to me. Suck it, back row.
Yeah, the guy had that. Obviously spent a lot of money on that sign.
Very cool.
Yeah.
He seemed like a nice guy. He was smiling, and he was pointing at me before we all left and said, look at my suck it, back row cardboard sign.
Yeah. I went, okay. And then Todd felt better, I think, because of they love me here.
I did until he said, you suck, get out of here. Can't believe you did that.
He did not say that.
He did not. He had a big smile very nice.
Team USA knocked out of the World Cup, lost on penalty kicks, a little bit of controversy there. NFL Hall of Fame weekend, and now we start to turn our attention to next year and who's going in. I think you got Julius Peppers, Antonio Gates are two of the leading candidates for next year. Not sure who else, if there's any other marquee names. They're all marquee names. But you are getting a little bit more consideration for what Dion said. And I've been talking about this with the Baseball Hall of Fame. Could you have like the penthouse, the third floor, second floor, first floor? Don't have a basement, but, do levels there. Maybe the voting levels. And you do have players who belong to the penthouse. And if you do that for the Pro Football Hall of Fame, we have 371 Pro Football Hall of Fame. So we're, obviously, in a couple of years, we're going to be at 400. Should there be 400 Hall of Fame? Should we be a little tougher as far as the filtering, the screening process here? And it still goes back to, if I say the name, Hall of Fame or not, and then that's really the litmus test here. But what happens is, then you have the Veterans Committee who's going to look, and then, so now you're a Hall of Famer 30 years after you played, or 20 years after you played. Are you really a Hall of Famer? Should we do that? I'd like the window there, do all your research in the window. You're either a Hall of Famer or you're not. Yes, Mark.
I hate to call it this guy, but maybe like Drew Pearson. He feels like one of those guys where he was so close, and then he finally got in, and it was like, should we just, let's just put him in, because he was a great player for a time, but people didn't think he was a Hall of Famer, or else he would have been in earlier than that.
It's tricky, because what happens is when you say you're not a Hall of Famer, then we look at the negative side of your career. And these guys get to the point where we discuss their Hall of Fame career. And that's where I try to be fair to them. Eli Manning is not a Hall of Famer for me, but he's going to be in the Hall of Fame. And I like Eli. But if he was on the show and he asked me, do you think I'm a Hall of Famer? I would say no, I don't. I don't think he was ever anywhere near the best quarterback in his sport. He did win 2 Super Bowls, and he beat Tom Brady. And that has to factor in. But that doesn't make you a Hall of Famer. Philip Rivers, not a Hall of Famer. Fun guest, great career, not a Hall of Famer. And I know that there's quarterbacks who didn't go to a Super Bowl, Warren Moon, Dan Fouts, Dan Marino. I know that. Like Dan Marino, take him out of the equation, because Dan Marino is on Mount Rushmore of quarterbacks when you look at that generation. He was unbelievable. Dan Fouts played for an unbelievable head coach, offense, and he was very good. They didn't make the Super Bowl. Warren Moon, you can't really say, well, he didn't play in the Super Bowl. He couldn't even get in the NFL. They wouldn't draft him. Goes to the CFL and wins, 5 Grey Cups there. But it's just tricky when you start to talk about a Hall of Fame. And I like what Dion was talking about. That, certain number of votes you get or whatever it is, that puts you in the penthouse. And that adds another layer to the Hall of Fame induction ceremony. Because then Rich Eisen could say on NFL Network, and we have a member going to the penthouse. That to me would be awesome. Yeah, Martin.
Yeah, like the gold level. Call it like the gold level. And it's just, it's not a big judgment. Everyone's going to know what it is. I would say one thing, though. I kind of like the Veterans Committee if there was an oversight. For whatever reason, like you mentioned Sterling Sharp the other day. You mentioned his numbers. You compared him to Calvin Johnson. That was an oversight. And usually you get the benefit of the doubt if you leave the sport due to injury, that you're like, Kirby Puckett with baseball. A guy, he should be in the Hall of Fame, to keep going. So I like the oversight committee for like a mistake of a generation.
Well, Sterling Sharp's a Hall of Fame. And then you get into this, should he be in? Drew Pearson's in and he's not in. And the answer is he should be in, absolutely. But, we have these arguments, these discussions. But it feels like if I say, is this guy a Hall of Famer? And you can just say yes or no. Not now, but in 26 years from now. But if you could start a team with one of the Hall of Famers who went in, Joe Thomas, Darrelle Revis, DeMarcus Ware, those are all the important positions besides quarterback. You got your left tackle, you got your corner, you got your edge rusher. We'll save that for a moment. Let's bring in Taylor Twelman, the MLS lead analyst on Apple TV. He was at the Dallas Inter-Miami game last night covering Messi. Good to see you again, Taylor. Let me start with the women's team. Was this a matter of maybe not having like a cohesive roster where you had young talent, you had some older players maybe shouldn't have been playing, and you had some injuries, and the world's caught up a little bit here?
I think it's that last point, Dan. I think that's where it is. 6 years ago, I raised this topic, and I took some real criticism on it, rightfully so to a certain extent, the fact that the United States women, they are the level that everyone wants to chase. It's completely different versus the men. We all know that. But about 6 years ago, I said when the football and soccer countries not only put their resources behind the women's game, but their brains behind it, and I'm talking the technical aspects of the game, the gap's going to be closed. There have been warning signs, Dan, with the youth in our country and the youth national teams struggling to get out of groups. Now that generation's with the first team. Now we're seeing the best, most diverse U.S. Women's World Cup ever. And so now it doesn't surprise me that the Women's World Cup now has Canada, Germany, Brazil, the United States going home. I think the U.S. women are up against it. And I'll say this for your listeners. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result. I think this is a watershed moment for the U.S. women.
Well, what do you mean by that?
Well, then just don't expect a
What I
different
mean by
result.
that is they've got to really address top to bottom.
Expect
how to
what you
fix
want.
them. And I think it starts with the youth. Now listen, on one level, and this is the ex-athlete in me, the Summer Olympics is just around the corner. So they can change the manager, they can potentially change the general manager. You can change what you said a little bit in the roster getting old, get rid of some of that, bring in some younger players, the injuries, then those players come back. You can quickly fix that at the first team level. But what I'm talking about is systemically, you've got to make sure the 14s, the 16s, the 18s, the 20s, the 23s, the rest of the world's catching up to us, Dan. And if we, as a country, are just relying on athleticism and fitness, we could be behind the eight ball, not only in the next World Cup, but for the next 8 to 12 years. I think it's a systemic issue, and I think the United States Federation behind the women's side needs to address that top to bottom.
What was the mistake made with the roster and maybe, keeping some of these, Mount Rushmore women on the team, and they shouldn't have been on the team?
Yes, absolutely. Now, if you're going to have them on the team, they better be really good in dynamic and leadership, and I think there's a debate to be had there. Listen, Carly Lloyd took a lot of criticism, and I...
If you know, you know.
Dan, you know this better than me. Men athletes leave the field, get into this job, the red light comes on, they don't want to say anything, don't really want to give their opinion because they're scared about their friendships or relationships off the field. Carly Lloyd gave her opinion. Whether I agree or disagree, that's not here. But she's the closest thing we have in the media to that group, and she wanted to bring up mentality. She wanted to bring up leadership. I got to listen to that, Dan, if I'm going to listen to anyone. And so I think there's a real good argument that they relied on reputation versus repetition, and I think it may have caught up to them.
And it's a polarizing team. I didn't realize I forgot how polarizing they were to a certain segment of America. And there were people celebrating the U.S. I don't remember a U.S. team playing on a big stage in any sport where we reacted or people reacted that way. Like, yeah, good. I'm glad, go home. Why?
Because that's the world we live in now, Dan. I mean, listen, honestly, I've never seen a red, white, and blue team rooted against as much as the U.S. women. And it's equal pay, it's diversity, it's the fact that Megan Rapinoe was the first athlete to back Colin Kaepernick and support him when she knelt. Then it's the cameras all over them. They're not singing the national anthem now. They're as polarizing as any group.
Well, you guys say what you want. You
now,
keep talking about the fact that...
mindset on a personal level
the power
They're
is
also sticking up for what they believe in. I have no issue with
leaking.
that.
There's
But
a
you gotta
leak.
deliver. Now, I raise
There's
a real question. I don't care if they're men or women. You're a two-time defending world champion, and if you come in
American Leaks, baby. It's
and
classic.
dancing and singing, you're bringing more attention to yourself.
But at that point, you
than
might as well
needed.
say
You're
what your
already
favorite
the
book is.
two-time world champion. You don't need that. You didn't see the national team come into the
American
22 World
Leaks,
Cup
baby.
dancing
American
and singing
Leaks.
on the men's side. Now, I criticize that. Now, all of a sudden, Dan, the bigot. That's because the women that we're talking about, the whole and behind the scenes, we need people like you to criticize us and the way you do men. Dan, when I do that, I'm now called a bigot. I'm called a sexist. And so you're asking me, I don't know really what the answer is, but I do know this is one of the, if not the most polarizing teams in the world of sport. Make no mistake about it.
Taylor Twellman, the MLS lead analyst on Apple TV, he was at the Dallas Inter-Miami game where Messi had a couple of goals. Simplify his greatness, if you can.
Buddy, I can't. But I said this during the game, Dan. I think you'll appreciate this.
But Taylor, I liken him to Steph Curry. It doesn't make sense.
Oh, he's bigger than that.
No. Steph Curry changed the game of basketball. He's undersized. He doesn't jump. He's not quick. He's not strong. You know exactly what's coming. Now, I can look at Messi and go, that guy is the best player. Now, I know it's against MLS competition, but still, there's something about him that he does something in a different way than anybody else who plays the sport. What is it?
Yeah. Now, Dan, you say it's against MLS competition. By the way, he did this in the World Cup against the best player in the world.
That is true.
6 months ago. That's different. What I said into this broadcast last night, and by the way, I slept right there for 3.5 hours because I couldn't sleep anyways because of what happened last night. The truth is this. There's only 4 athletes that when the occasion comes and the expectation level is there, they exceed those. Michael Jordan, Tiger Woods, Muhammad Ali. Steph Curry's not one of those guys. He's changed basketball, but he has failed. Lionel Messi, Dan, every single time the moment comes and you say there's no way, whether it's the World Cup when he's 35, whether it's Inter-Miami where he's had maybe 4 trainings with the team, it's unbelievable. Every single time he delivers sport. Pelé was 1 in a million. I'd say Johan Cruyff, Diego Maradona, but they didn't do it as long as he's doing it. He's 36, Dan, and still operating at a level that very few, if any, have ever operated at.
Have you ever been in a friendly against him?
I've actually played in a real competition. 2007 Copa America. We played in Venezuela. We were up 1-0. 25 minutes later, we lost 4-1.
What was the scouting report on Messi back then? Do you remember?
And that's the best. I'm actually glad you asked that because that was 2007. He's not 7-time Ballon d'Or winner, right? He hasn't done any of that. I likened him to this, and I remember when Michael Vick made his introduction to college football, and I forget the defender, the linebacker for the Florida State team that played him, but he compared him to a chicken on a farm, and you run around trying to chase the chicken with his head cut off. Lionel Messi walks. He walks more than any other player. And yet, I liken him, he's 5'7", 150 pounds. He's like the water bug on top of lake water that just bounces everywhere. And you think you got him, you try to hit him, you slap him. You can't touch him. He's easy to find. He's the easiest guy right now to see on the field and say, hey, he's number 10, he's in a pink jersey, absolutely kick the snot out of him, and Dan, no one can. It's honestly, Dan, it's the most remarkable trait. The best ability is availability. He's never seriously been hurt. That is amazing to me.
And he doesn't flop either, which I respect that. But I liken him to the same thing as Steph Curry. It's like when raindrop goes down your windshield. And and then it just takes a hard left, and then it'll take a hard right, and then it goes straight, and then it's a left. That would be my comparison, that Messi is like that raindrop going down your windshield, just like Steph Curry. Some things you can't explain, but that's the beauty of sports.
Nope, but Messi's got 2 quads on him. That raindrop has about 17 raindrops on each leg because you can't knock him off the ball.
And you faced him when he was 20.
Yeah, I know. That's it. Thanks for dating me again. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Well,
Awesome.
How would you do against him now?
I'd be in the hospital after about 30 seconds.
Great to talk to you again, Taylor. Thank you.
Yep, great seeing you, bud.
Taylor Twellman, MLS lead analyst on Apple TV, and there to witness Messi last night. I just remember, who was it on the show